what would you say America's role is in addressing global warming, and what would you, as a member of Congress, do to advance that role?
5% of the world's population, but unfortunately we are consuming close to 20% of the world's energy. So there is much that we need to do in this country. So alternative energy is an area that we want to focus on. Conservation, just based on those numbers, you know that there are huge opportunities for us to cut back on global warming. I have a 3-year-old boy at home. I'd like to see my son grow up in a safe, green environment. At the same time, we have to balance this with the reality of today, and today is the fact that we are under an economic crisis. There are ways that you can use technology to promote green, be it clean coal, hydrogen fuel cell technology that's going on in Honey Eye Falls, which is very important technology. There's great opportunities. We need to invest in those because they will cut down on green gas emissions. So we need to be focused on that, and I think there's great opportunities for us in this country to make headway.
Yes, I've put forth a very comprehensive plan that I call Plan for Sustainable Development for our part of Western New York. It deals with energy issues, the economy, and the environment. I'm very concerned about the effects of global warming, and I have in my plan set forth the laws that I would vote for, the standards that I would vote for to lower greenhouse gas emissions in this country. I also talk about green-collar jobs and how I believe that in our part of New York, it's a growth area of the economy that we are uniquely situated to take hold of and grow here so that we have good-paying jobs for people here. My opponent mentions the importance of drilling offshore in Alaska, and that's going to create 10,000 jobs. I'd like to create jobs here in Western New York, not in other parts of this country, and I think we can do that with the right alternative energy strategy.
Ms. Kryzan, there are those who say America's health care system is broken. 47 million Americans and counting without health insurance, for example. There are others. If elected, what would you propose to fix the system?
Well, I think that we need to build on the existing system that we have. I don't think that, unlike Chris, though, I don't believe that the private sector is the total answer to the problem here. They haven't been able to solve the problem so far. 47 million people in this country apparently cannot afford health insurance. So I think that the federal government has a role to play in extending health insurance coverage to children under the S-CHIP program. And I think the federal government has a role to play in offering a health care program that can compete in the private sector with private health care plans that can be affordable, that can be portable, and can be reliable for people so that when they do have illnesses, unlike some private insurance carriers who will disclaim coverage to save the cost of treating them, they know they can get the health care they deserve.
Sure, health care is a very important issue, but again, I believe that getting the private sector more involved in bringing out various initiatives that will help us lower cost, be it an IT initiative that will allow people to carry a credit card that has all of their patient information so that it can be portable. If someone leaves their place of employment, that their health care goes with them. It's very important for small businesses that are struggling, and when they're trying to pay health care costs, they want to pay it for their employees, but they need to try to keep their costs down by being able to pool small businesses together so that they can buy more advantageously is a very important aspect of health care that we need to push forward in this country. There are preventative medicine. We do not do enough up front. If we spent dollars on preventative medicine, it'll help lower overall costs of medical. And one last point for Mrs. Kryzan, there are great opportunities for jobs in the southern tier where the Marcellus and natural gas, a great opportunity for us to be energy independent. You just have to go out to the southern tier and we can find that opportunity.
Mr. Lee, farmers in Western New York continue to say access to labor is a problem. What is the solution?
I'm glad you brought that up. I spent a solid 2 weeks and had going out and meeting with farmers, be it dairy farmers, vegetable growers, or those growing crops. And there was a unanimous point was the fact that they were struggling to find adequate labor in this area. They've been forced to use temporary workers, and there's a temporary worker program in this country, but it's difficult. All these farmers are small businessmen. They want to hire legal workers, but we need a system that's easier and simpler. Nobody in this country wants to hire illegal immigrants, but they need to run their farms. So they want to make sure that they're hiring legal workers. The federal government needs to step in and ensure that we're making it easier for these small businesses to thrive, because agriculture is the backbone of this district. And if you go across all 7 counties and you talk to the farmers here, they'll tell you their #1 problem outside of energy is the ability to try to get workers to get on their farm and help them day in and day out, if it's milking cows or bringing in vegetables.
Well, Jill, it's certainly true that the farmers who make up the real heart of this district in so many ways have exactly the problem you've talked about. We need to have a policy, a federal government policy that's a sensible immigration policy that enables farmers in our agricultural heartland to hire people legally, pay them appropriately, and let them come out of the shadows. And so I think the federal government has a very important role to play there. And I think it's also important for people to understand and have a congressperson in Washington, I hope a congresswoman in Washington from this district, who understands the difference between the southern border of this country and the northern border. We have additional issues here in Western New York with our border with Canada and the need to have a border solution there that allows the free flow of commerce back and forth.
I'm a licensed insurance agent. My husband and I are both small business owners, and my question is a bit of a two-parter. We relocated here last year from the New York City area, primarily because of the tax incentives and other programs designed to help small businesses. The first part of my question is, how do you foresee the current economic crisis impacting those programs designed for small businesses? Second part is, in light of that potential impact, what can small businesses do to help revitalize the economy, and should you be elected, what would you do to support that?
Well, I think that a major part of the bailout package that was passed last week was designed to get money into the credit markets to ease up credit, especially for small businesses who are seeing the effects of this credit crunch first and most seriously. So I'm hopeful that the action that Congress took last week is going to help you in this regard. I think that we need to, as a federal government and as your representative, I would want to make sure that small businesses are as protected as possible in this environment. I've said it before in this debate, small businesses are the backbone of our economy in the 26th district, and I want to be a Democrat in Congress who is fighting to support small businesses and help them thrive in this economy.
My background in business and manufacturing makes me, I feel for the lady in the audience, because it's very difficult to run a business. I've been fortunate to get the endorsement from the U.S. Chamber of Commerce and the National Small Business Association based upon my background and our discussions I've had with them. But what we need is to be able to help small business. 80% of the job growth in the past decade came from small business. That's where our efforts need to be. We need to continue to provide them with tax incentives so they can get off the ground, because small businesses can grow into large businesses, and that's where we have to spend our time, energy, and effort, because the return on that investment is much better than in a lot of other areas.